Hall of Famer, former Viking great of the Purple People Eaters. Moments ago, Carl Eller in the ceremonial coin toss. Redskins won the toss, elected to kick off. And so the Vikings will get the football first. That's Kai Forbath. This is the first time in NFL history that two teams coming off road overtime wins have then faced each other the following game. Both trying to get to their fourth victory of the year. It's week 9 here in Minnesota, and it's happening with the Redskins and Vikings. Cordero Patterson lets it roll into the end zone. Minnesota comes out to the 20-yard line, led by rookie quarterback, the first rounder, Teddy Bridgewater, Ronde. More wins than any other rookie quarterback this season.
We've seen Teddy Bridgewater a couple of times this year already in our broadcast. Really impressed with his poise. He does have some areas that he needs to improve on, and that'll only come with time. But he's up against a tough test today, this Washington Redskins defense. We'll see how he handles any or all of this pressure the defensive coordinator Jim Haslett tries to put on him.
Completing 60% of his passes. Jerick McKinnon, another rookie, starts at running back with Bridgewater. On first down, Bridgewater, middle of the field for Jennings, and overthrows Greg Jennings. Jennings, the veteran receiver. Cordero Patterson on the other side. Last week was targeted 12 times and had 6 catches, the most this season for a guy who also can run with the football when you get in his hands at the running back position.
He is very dangerous when he has the football. They'll have to find some creative ways to get it to him. He's not a great route runner, but when you see him in the backfield, pretty certain he's going to get the ball, and he is dangerous.
Interesting first call from Norv Turner, offensive coordinator of this Viking team. On second down, it is Jerick McKinnon who will lose a yard. Jason Hatcher up front on that Washington defense, and the 3-4 that was so difficult on Monday night, helping the Redskins in their 3rd win of the season.
Jason Hatcher has been a great addition for this Redskins defense. He plays a lot of positions for them, but watch Ryan Kerrigan today. He's 7.5 sacks. Definitely the impact rusher on this Redskins defense.
And Bashaud Breeland in the lineup, even though he twisted his knee in Friday's practice. Important at one corner spot with Amerson. On third down, pass is high and incomplete through the hands of Cordero Patterson and over on the sunny side of the field. So a quick 3 and out, and Jeff Locke coming in to punt as Phil Lodeholt is limping, the right tackle, already a little thin on that offensive line. Andre Roberts back to receive the punt of Jeff Locke. Special teams an issue for Mike Zimmer and the Vikings, and they had a special meeting about it earlier in the week. Ball is bobbled. Roberts gets up to about the 42. Here comes the flag on the back end of the play. Roberts averaging about 11 yards a punt return. And Gene Steratore, our referee today. He's from Washington, Pennsylvania. Also an NCAA basketball official.
Nice clarification there. I like that.
No bias.
During the return, personal foul. Return team number 36 for an illegal peel back block. 15 yards from the spot of the foul. First down, Washington.
Call on Darrell Young.
See him right here in your screen. Facing the opposing goal line. You're not allowed to contact a player. It's an easy call. That's the Hines Ward rule. It applies obviously on offense, but also in the team's game.
Well, it really changes the field position dramatically. Washington's defense set up the offense, but the penalty puts them back at the 20. Robert Griffin III, first game action since week 2. He keeps it. He's throwing and completing at the 30. Pierre Garçon with what looks to be good enough for a first down catch. And for Robert Griffin, 31 of 40, over 300 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, and no fracture or ligament damage in that dislocated ankle. And said he was ready to go last week, but they decided to wait and put him in here, and he gets the first down on his first throw. And on Morris, knocked out at the 34. Harrison Smith coming up from his safety spot. This Viking defense second in the NFL in sacking the quarterback.
Absolutely. Everson Griffin, we'll focus a lot on him today. Sharif Floyd is having a great year as well, but I love their secondary. I love Harrison Smith. These corners, though, have a huge challenge today against Pierre Garçon and Deshaun Jackson.
Here comes the read option, and Griffin beats and goes out of bounds. It'll bring up third down. And he told us when he said he would play unleashed, physically he's 100%. He's got to shake out the rust, but he's going to do everything he thought he could do before the dislocated ankle.
He is not going to hold back. I think Jake Gruden calling plays is not going to hold him back either. I said we're going to see a lot of pocket movement. We've already seen him out of the pocket 3 times. I wouldn't be surprised if some read option stuff shows up here in their first couple of possessions either.
From the 37 on 3rd and 4. Time and completes for a first down across the 46 is Andre Roberts. Let's check in and down on the field with Jennifer Hale.
Well, Chris, Robert Griffin III told me he's wearing a specially modified shoe today to help protect that ankle. It's got a stiff inside liner that should keep his foot from bending in the direction of that original injury. Part of the reason he was injured in the first place was his shoe came off. So that liner, Chris, should also help hold the shoe in place if he plants in a bad way again, Chris.
He has had an injury-ravaged start to his career. Pass is complete to Garçon, and receiver screen goes nowhere. Knocked down right at the 45. Captain Munnerlyn and Everson Griffin. Griffin on Griffin. Everson Griffin, who was named the NFC Defensive Player of the Month.
The matchup of the day is Everson Griffin versus this towering Trent Williams at left tackle. I can't wait till they get some third down situations. We can focus in on that matchup.
Morris cuts back, fights hard to get up near midfield. Another matchup we should watch closely is how are they going to cover Deshaun Jackson.
I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Zimmer, Mike Zimmer, has some special design defenses to double this guy up. He is a smooth running athlete and can get by anybody. Talk about taking the top off the defense. This guy does it with regularity. He's leading the league in yards per catch. We'll see how they handle him today.
Redskins last in the league on 3rd and long. They need to get 7 here. Roy Halou Jr. in at running back. 5 defensive backs for the Vikings. Pressure coming. And Robert Griffin gets out of it. Chad Greenway had him but couldn't hold it. Halou inside the 30. What a play by Robert Griffin.
People clamoring for Colt McCoy to start this week. Now we know why Jay Gruden likes this guy at quarterback. Able to get away from almost any pressure. He's so athletic. And then finds his third down running back, Roy Halou. Unbelievable start, first down there.
Colt McCoy looking on after doing what he could do in the last couple of games. A 24-yard play for Robert Griffin. Alfred Morris back in at running back and set up already in field goal range.
Set. Leave it on, leave it on. Hey, you want to scoop it? Hey, red. 19. Set.
Hand off Morris. Jay Gruden, without question, was firm on Robert Griffin. Could have played last week against Dallas, but we wanted to make sure mentally, physically, but also getting reps, practice time, so he could work on his timing, and not just for this game and this season. We got to know if he's our guy in the big picture.
You got to find out if Robert Griffin III is the quarterback of the future on this football team. A lot of people talking about it could be some other guys. He plays the game a certain way. It's not suited for this league, but I think Jay Gruden thinks he's an asset. We're going to see a lot more of this kid. I'm not ready to give up on it.
After a loss of 1, Griffin's pass to Morris with a lot of running room. Alfred Morris follows a block and gets a first down. Inside the 15, Harrison Smith finally brought him down. So safe, comfortable throws so far for Griffin.
Screens, boots, all these type of plays help a quarterback that hasn't played in 7 weeks get comfortable. And we know that he has a bunch of options. obviously Alfred Morris as a runner, but also his running backs out of the backfield. We'll see a lot more of that today. I don't think we'll see him push the ball down the field as much early in this football game.
After a gain of 15, Alfred Morris will lose yardage. Sharif Floyd, who has come on lately for this Viking defense, was there to bring down Morris.
Mike Zimmer, you see Sharif Floyd right here. Mike Zimmer prefers this 4-3 front, and you need a dominant 3 technique to play it. And their role is to get penetration. That's exactly what Sharif Floyd did right there.
A loss of 3 just beyond the 16-yard line. Khalid Jr. back in at running back. Griffin sets up to throw, and he's hit low and brought down. A twisting tackle and a sack for Anthony Barr, who just got his 4th sack of the season, and a tough hit on Griffin.
Watch this hit. I know it's low, and he gets bent up awkwardly. Looks like he's all right, though, Chris. This Vikings defense wants to hit Robert Griffin III. They know he likes to hold on to the football. Everson Griffin, Brian Robinson, all these guys are going to try to beat him up a little bit today.
3rd and 21. The handoff to Morris, who will get inside the 20. Fighting off tackles and eventually brought down. It'll be 4th down. And Washington will bring out the field goal unit. So a tough tackle. Rookie Anthony Barr laying on Griffin, who heads to the sideline, but he does move the Redskins from their own 20 into field goal range. And in that drive, Robert Griffin 5 out of 5. Kai Forbath on to try the field goal.
Keep an eye on the wind conditions here today. Down earlier, it definitely swirls in this stadium. Going this way is a little bit more difficult than it is kicking the other direction.
A 36-yard try. And Forbath slits it in there. So he's now made 10 straight field goals and 14 out of 15 for the season. Fans holding their breath on this hit, but Washington leads. Kai Forbath after the field goal, getting ready. You have a shoe for points and then a shoe for kicking off.
He's not worried about his style, I guess.
NFC Special Teams Player of the Week when he made that 40-yarder in overtime on Monday in Dallas.
We're gonna have to ask him what's the difference between the 2 shoes there.
Also had a game winner, Rondé, if you go back against Tennessee. So tight games that Forbath has delivered on for Washington, and they have the early lead here. That drive covered 62 yards, 7 minutes, 45 seconds. And as we said, Griffin was on target 5 out of 5. Cordero Patterson, if he gets the chance, back to receive the kickoff. And it goes down the sideline to Marquise Gray. They kick it away from Patterson. In this game, matching for the first time Mike Zimmer, head coach, against Jay Gruden. They were together in Cincinnati as coordinators. Halloween weekend here, University of Minnesota, on the campus of the Golden Gophers, where the Vikings will play outdoors until after next season when their new home is built. From just beyond the 20-yard line, second series for Bridgewater. McKinnon met hard right away and thrown down by E.J. Bashaud Breeland, the corner. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee.
All right, Tony Romo out with injury, so the Dallas defense stepping up early against Arizona. Taylor Patman, yes, undrafted Oklahoma State rookie Tyler Patman, 58 yards, picking off Carson Palmer for the lead. Chris.
4 down.
That's it.
All right, thanks, Kurt. The Eagles are also leading against Houston in the NFC East.
That's what hot.
On second down, Bridgewater, blitz coming. He fires. It's caught for a first down up near the 37-yard line. Greg Jennings hangs on.
That was a nice, quick decision by Teddy Bridgewater. This pressure coming off his left side didn't even faze him. One thing that Teddy has a tendency to do is hold on to the football, but that was a decisive throw.
And Jennings, the veteran who has worked a little bit more closely with Bridgewater. In fact, Bridgewater asked him about Aaron Rodgers, who he played with, and how he got rid of the ball rather quickly. Gain of 17.
That's what
Another throw in that direction. Coverage was good, but Cordero Patterson was over there. David Amerson covering it.
You know, this Washington defense is all about pressure. You never know where it's coming from. They'll have a blitz of the day, and Minnesota will have to identify it in this game. But last week, those 5 sacks, the 3 forced fumbles were the difference in this football game. We're going to see today how they treat Teddy Bridgewater.
Blitz of the day on the menu. Jim Haslett, defensive coordinator, told us he had 28 blitzes in for last week. Didn't use them all, but had them. He has 22 different blitz packages for today. Cordero Patterson, wide open and overthrown. Misfiring on the deep ball, one of the weak spots for the rookie quarterback.
You know, this Redskins secondary, they do a lot of different things, and Amerson's looking for help there from Ryan Clark. Complete miscommunication. You cannot get any more wide open than that, and Teddy Bridgewater has to be able to connect on that throw.
Part of that could have been the sun in his eyes, Ronnie, and you were down on the field beforehand, the stadium, where obviously they don't play a lot. You can see how the field is split with shadows and sunlight. But on the overthrow, third down, underneath Malaciata. Can he get the first down? Looks like he did. And he did get the first down, so an important third down conversion for this Viking offense.
It may have been the sun on that throw, but either way, when you get a guy running that wide open, I mean, just lay it out there. I mean, I know he's young. I know he's going to have these type of mistakes. You don't get many opportunities like that in a football game. He's going to be kicking himself when he gets to the sideline when he sees how open he actually was.
Jarek McKinnon goes straight ahead. Knocked down before he got to the 50-yard line. Second possession for the Vikings. After their 3-game losing skid, they won in overtime at Tampa Bay. Rookie Anthony Barr with the defensive play to end it. We've already seen him star. The first-round pick of the Vikings, and of course Teddy Bridgewater. The team traded up in the first round to draft him 32nd final pick of that opening round.
Got a great young nucleus of talent on this team. Between last year's draft and this year's draft, they're all playing relatively well too, Chris.
Need to get to the 42 for a first down, and Bridgewater goes down inside the 40. Trent Murphy, the rookie linebacker from Stanford.
Working over there at that right defensive end. You'll see him out here working on Matt Khalil, who has struggled mightily. Inside, outside, it doesn't matter. He's getting beat every which way, and Trent Murphy, who's taking over for the injured Brian Orakpo, gets a nice sack early in this game.
And the team hopes Barry Cofield will return after their bye week.
It's a great graphic right there. Sacks are drive killers. It's like 7%.
On third down, the screen. Matt Asiata gets into Redskin territory, but not enough for the first down. Looking at that 44 makes you think of the great Chuck Foreman, who wore purple. He's in the house today. We saw Carl Eller for the coin flip alumni weekend here for the Viking greats. Andre Roberts back for the punt.
Get back to that point real quick. Get sacks on drives. I think it's 7 or 8% do not end up in touchdowns. It's amazing what sacks do to your offense, and you can't take one there in that situation.
It's an area they wanted to work on. Jeff Locke, too many touchbacks. They wanted that ball inside the 10, and this time he delivers for Mike Zimmer and the Vikings special teams unit. We'll get another look at Robert Griffin III, who has his team out in front, 3-0. Here in Minnesota, look who's sitting with the fans, Carl Eller.
That's pretty cool.
Alan Page behind him. I don't see any quarterbacks sitting close.
That's pretty cool. Look who's in my seat, in his Hall of Fame jacket.
From the 9-yard line, Robert Griffin throwing from his own goal line for Deshaun Jackson. He hangs on at midfield. And the Redskins come out firing. Xavier Rhodes, the corner for the Vikings, in pain.
See Deshaun Jackson here in the slot. And the one thing that they love about him is that his ability to adjust to the ball in the air. Great catch there.
We'll check on the injury here in Minnesota.
See Xavier Rhodes over there.
Looks like it's for a concussion.
But I think they got lucky here. This easily could have been a helmet-to-helmet hit by Harrison Smith there that would have added on another 15 to that 45-yard reception.
And there was no call. Josh Robinson in for Rhodes at corner after a 45-yard gain. Alfred Morris with some tough yardage all the way down to the 37-yard line. That catch by Deshaun Jackson, the 8th catch of 40 yards or more this season. No other player in the league came into the week with more than 5. He's been that dynamic, the ex-Eagle for the Redskins.
He is a game changer, Chris. There are not many guys in the league that can run like he can run. And we talked about earlier just a second ago, his ability to adjust the ball, it's unprecedented. Nobody else can make those type of catches.
After a gain of 9, Morris has a first down and a lot more down to the 23. And that was the discussion that Jake Gruden mentioned, that just the threat of Robert Griffin running will help Alfred Morris, who's still looking for his first 100-yard game of this season.
Well, if he's going to get it, it's going to be with Robert Griffin as his quarterback. Obviously, you got the threat of the read option, keeps another defender out of the box. We'll see a lot of that today.
7 carries, 32 yards. Morris averaging over 4.5 a carry.
We're good. Ready?
Morris gets down inside the 20 as the first quarter is winding down. The Redskins trying to win their 3rd straight. Robert Griffin III trying to win his first game since week 2, playing in his first game since week 2, and so far 6 out of 6 for over 100 yards. And he has the Redskins on the move once again. At the end of the opening quarter, Washington leads 3-0. Fox NFL Sunday returns after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. From the 19-yard line, start of the second quarter, Alfred Morris the back. 5 defensive backs for the Vikings. Griffin flips and Roberts can't hold on. First incompletion for Robert Griffin III. Well, he talked to us about being confident when we met with him last night, and his coach, as you see the first quarter stats, said we want to see how confident, how comfortable he'll be after a 7-week playoff.
I don't think it matters who made the decision, whether it was a coach, whether it was somebody higher than Coach Gruden. Point of the matter is he gives them the best option to win football games going forward. We've seen it already, how he's helped the run game, helped Alfred Morris, seen him as his escapability. He's still Robert Griffin that everybody knows. He just needs to get adapted to this offense.
On 3rd down, pressure coming for the end zone. Flag down and incomplete. He's trying to get it to Jordan Reed. Flag in the area of the receiver inside the 5-yard line.
Mike Zimmer dialed up some pressure there, and Jordan Reed, it's always a matchup problem.
To the pass, illegal contact, defense, number 35, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And the call is on Marcus Sherrills, primarily a punt returner.
Yeah, and you see him matched up, small corner on a big tight end, clearly past the 5-yard markage. You know, Jordan Reed, when he gets out there by himself, he is an asset that this offense really relies on, especially when he's away from trips like he is now. He's sitting up here.
So instead of 4th down, first down, Redskins, Alfred Morris. Alfred Morris, touchdown, Redskins.
Alfred Morris finding his rhythm running the football today. A lot of this is dependent on the way he plays up front, but watch what they do to Brian Robinson right here. Down block. The linebacker can't scrape over the top, and there's just no chance for the safeties to get on that tackle. It's a good design play right there for Washington.
5th touchdown of the season for Alfred Morris. And the Redskins take a 10-0 advantage on a key penalty that would have forced them into a 4th down. They hand off to Morris and get a touchdown. Redskins looking good after the touchdown run of 14 yards.
You got to look at Greenway here. You know, Tom Compton comes off of that double team and really doesn't affect him. And Greenway's got to make that play. He's the one responsible for that gap in the defense, and he just isn't able to get over there. He's like stuck in cement a little bit there.
Alfred Morris, in his first 2 years, had 10 100-yard rushing games. None this year. Had 91 against Houston. And he already has 50 in this game. Cordero Patterson backs up, watches it go through the end zone, 20-yard line for the Vikings, who now trail 10-0. You want big interviews and great highlights? Tune in to Fox Sports Live tonight. They have a one-on-one conversation with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. Recaps and analysis of all the football action, NBA action, etc., etc. Fox Sports Live tonight at 11 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Moments ago after the touchdown, that's Everson Griffin with his head coach, who calls the defensive signals, and they're both rather heated.
They're trying to figure out how it is that Washington's moving up and down the field so easily.
From the 20-yard line, Matt Asiata goes straight ahead for 3. Let's get a game break. Check in again with Kurt Menefee. Kurt?
Well, Nick Foles has thrown 2 touchdown passes today. One to Jeremy Maclin. Unfortunately for him, this one is to A.J. Boye, and he plays for the Houston Texans. 51 yards later, the Texans have all tied it up. Right now, 7 apiece as they get ready to start the second quarter. Chris and Rondé.
Thank you. And in the NFC East, Dallas 6-2, the Eagles 5-2. Giants and Redskins each with 3 wins coming into the weekend. On second down, quick pass to Patterson. He's thrown down after getting the first down, and he hangs on.
Whenever Washington showed some hint of pressure, and there was 5 guys entering into that blitz right there, Teddy Bridgewater's doing a really good job getting the ball out of his hands quickly. That throw right there is an example of it. We saw a screen earlier. We're going to see more and more of that if Washington decides to keep lighting him up.
From the 33 on first down. Going deep for Patterson. Knocked away and incomplete. The coverage outstanding by Bashaud Breeland, the rookie from Clemson, who we mentioned on Friday in a non-contact play. The last play of practice, twisted his knee, but okay to go here, obviously.
Yeah, Bashaud is a smooth athlete. Now, he plays with such confidence. He's a rookie. But you got to remember, Chris, he spent his college years going against some good receivers at Clemson. Sammy Watkins, some other guys that are playing on this level. He plays with so much confidence. They trust him a lot in the secondary.
Ball underthrown a little bit. That's twice already in this game for the young Bridgewater, where he's had a receiver deep and open. Asiata knocked down. Ryan Clark up from his safety spot. You know, talking about the defensive backs of Washington, it was a freaky Halloween week. D'Angelo Hall already out with an Achilles injury. He re-injured it when he was getting pizza. Don't tell me how that happened. But so he's going to have another surgery. In the meantime, they were thankful that Breeland's twisted knee wasn't serious enough to keep him out.
This Washington secondary is asked to do a whole lot when they bring 5 and 6 guys under pressure. It's some unconventional stuff, hard to draw up. But they've been playing it pretty well, especially recently.
Third down and 9. Pressure coming. Bridgewater steps up and unloads to Matt Asiata. Puts a move on, but can't get away from Keenan Robinson, who is one of the faster linebackers in this league. And it'll be 4th down for the Vikings. Flag down back inside the 30.
Hey, Jay, I got a hold.
No need for us to speculate. He just told us.
I think he told Jay Gruden what the penalty was.
Holding. Offense, number 71. 10-yard penalty. Replay 3rd down.
Look up here, over here on the right side of your screen. It's more of a leg whip. You see it coming into your frame right here. Just a takedown on Ryan Kerrigan, Phil Lodehold.
Interesting, he declined the penalty. It would have been 4th third down. He took the penalty as opposed to declining it, where it would have been fourth down and short. So now he backs them up to the 24 by taking the penalty, making it third down and 19.
Just can't do that now, unless they give him on the cadence, but this is going to be encroachment.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 91. 5-yard penalty, third down.
That's on Ryan Kerrigan. Leads the team with 7.5 sacks. A little over-anxious on the rookie quarterback, third and long.
You're getting these third and long situations, and D linemen are chomping at the bit. They want to pin their ears back and get after the quarterback. You can't be anxious. Gives them a little bit more manageable third down.
Jarius Wright in at receiver for the Vikings. Ashley out of the back. Bridgewater has time and is eventually going to go down. He gets smothered by Jason Hatcher. His 4th sack of the year.
I'll tell you, Chris, this Redskins defense does so many different things. Watch Robinson insert here. He's got the back, but just having that extra body confuses the front. This Minnesota Vikings, and Hatcher just sticks with his rush and falls into a sack there.
And already, that was something the Vikings wanted Bridgewater work on, holding the ball too long. You touched on it, getting through your progressions, your reach to get rid of it.
Progression-based offense, and if you don't get it out quick, especially against a team like this, you're going to see a lot of hits on the quarterback.
Andre Roberts backing up and brought down right away. Excellent special teams play by the Vikings after the punt from Jeff Locke. Marcus Sherrills making the tackle. The Redskins with a 10-0 lead here in Minnesota, and they have the football. 1st and 10 Redskins from the 28-yard line of Washington. Caught by Pierre Garçon. Let's go back to the punt coverage, an area of improvement for this Viking team from last week.
Well, this is a really good play here by Marcus Sherrills. I mean, it looks routine, it looks ordinary, but a gunner's the hardest job in football. And watch him get here, settle down, still make this tackle. He could easily interfere with that catch. That was nicely done.
Robert Griffin with the pass completion, going out of bounds. Niles Paul, backup tight end. Niles Paul in high school played in Omaha, Nebraska, the North High School Vikings. They used kind of a similar logo. Here he plays against the Vikings.
Niles Paul is having a heck of a year for these Redskins now. He came into this year with only 14 receptions over 3 years, and he's already got his 29th on the year. He's having a great season. I know Jordan Reed gets a lot of the press, but he's having a good one too.
3rd and 1. Robert Griffin keeps after the fake and gets out of bounds. His 2nd run of the game, and it's been a sparkling return for Robert Griffin III. If you just tuned in, this has been his day so far. He is 8 out of 9 for over 100 yards and got out of some trouble from the Viking pass rush. Withstood a sack from rookie Anthony Barr, completed a long pass to Deshaun Jackson, and has his team on top and opened up some holes for Alfred Morris, who has a touchdown run. On 1st down, Morris the carry is 10th in this game.
I think it's time for this Minnesota Vikings defense to come up with a play or something. I know Robert Griffin III has created a lot of opportunities with his legs, moving the pocket, but they just look out of sorts today. This defense is much more aggressive usually. There's been some explosive plays already in this game. They have to get something going here.
Low snap handled by Griffin, and the throw out of bounds in the area of Deshaun Jackson. I like when Robert Griffin, we talked to him last night, he said this isn't Madden football. It's one thing to lay out plays and talk about it, but when you get out there, I'm going to be who I am. I'm not going to be the normal guy, whether I have to run or throw. I'm just going to do what I do.
Well, it's a cliche to say, we got to make him a pocket quarterback, but he's an athlete. Let him be an athlete and quarterback the way he wants to play.
Flag on 3rd down and 5, a couple of them. Lou Jr. in at running back. They're a 3rd down back. Each team with 2 penalties thus far.
Encroachment. Defense number 73. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down. Half yard to go.
So the second penalty on a 3rd down play. It helped him get a 1st down when Morris got the touchdown. And here it makes it a little bit easier for Washington now on the Minnesota side of the field. Just a half yard needed for a 1st down.
Hey, 54!
Todd!
All right, come.
Kennedy! Nice hit! Pitch to Roy Hello Jr. Vikings are ready. He'll lose yardage. Everson Griffin. It's 4th down.
We talked about this defense needing to do something. Well, Everson Griffin looked like the hungriest player on the field right here. Watch him right here. Just chase this play down. It's dive option. Usually get the defense to commit and get the ball out on the edge to your running back. But that's a heck of a play by a heck of an athlete there, and Everson Griffin get them off on 3rd down, man.
As you said, his game built on speed, and he showed it there. Tress Way booms it out of there. Big stop for the Viking defense. In the shadows, Marcus Sherrills. Up the sideline, goes out of bounds. Here comes a flag after he went out of bounds. It's a 36-yard punt, an 8-yard return.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team number 36. 10-yard penalty. 1st down Minnesota. Timeout.
The call on Robert Blanton. It will back up the Vikings, who trail, but Teddy Bridgewater will try and rally the offense. 4th. We welcome you back here in Minnesota. Redskins with a 10-0 lead 2nd quarter with Rondé Barber. I'm Chris Myers. Nice to have you watching with us. Well, we've seen what Robert Griffin can do. What does Teddy Bridgewater have to do to try and rally his team?
I think he's got to continue to be patient here, not try to do too much. You know, we keep talking about how he has a tendency to hold on to the football, and Greg Jennings told him he needs to see receivers open instead of trying to wait till they get open. See if he's able to develop that. I know they've been practicing on that all week.
1st down, Jarrett McKinnon knocked down across the 50. It was a tough tackle there.
I'll tell you what, Rashad Breeland, I mean, he is my type of corner. Watch him.
He's questioning the way he was tackled.
Well, it looked like he grabbed him around the head and pulled him down, but he has zero regard for his body here. Watch him come into the screen and just sell out on this tackle. Right there, you see him at the back. Stop that play dead, man. Impressive young player to me.
4th round draft pick from Clemson. They showed it here, and the fans booing. 2nd and 8, Bridgewater throws, knocked away, intended for Patterson, and it's Rashad Breeland again. He did a great job against Des Bryant, holding him to 3 catches and keeping him out of the end zone on Monday night in Dallas.
You lose a guy like D'Angelo Hall, and you got to be questioning your secondary, especially when you have a rookie who was really unheralded coming out of Clemson. But we actually had a chance to see him, Chris, in the preseason, and we were impressed with him then. And just as he's gotten his opportunity, got to play in the New York Giants game early in the year, he's just continued developing. He's just, it's going to be a good player, I think.
Meanwhile, can a Viking receiver get separation here?
Loco.
On 3rd down. Blitz coming. Throws on target for a 1st down across the 30. Chase Ford.
Thought Teddy did a great job on that play.
And Matt Asiata had a nice block.
Yeah, good block on this pressure from the other side. But you see they have Trent Murphy there in coverage underneath Chase Ford. And Rashad Breeland is playing kind of off. And watch the block there by Asiata on the left side of your screen on the blitzing defensive back. Good job giving him a pocket to deliver that from.
Gain of 15. McKinnon in at running back up to the 31 of Minnesota. Pass is high, hauled in by the tight end Rudd Ellison. Ryan Kerrigan was there. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage.
Washington does so much. Watch, it looks like your outside linebacker there is coming, but really they bring pressure from the other side. I'll give credit there to the offensive line being able to identify that. They were trying to confuse him, and they picked it up pretty well.
Bridgewater hesitates, throws, middle of the field, Jennings falls forward for a first down.
You can kind of feel him, Chris, getting into a rhythm, throwing the football. Haven't had much success running it today. And, you know, Scott Turner, the quarterback coach, told us when Teddy gets into these rhythms, almost like a 2-minute situation, he gets really, really accurate. And the challenge is to get him to have that feeling on regular first, second down in the middle of the football game. And they're getting it in. There's Scott Turner right there in your screen.
Son of Norv Turner, who sits upstairs, the offensive coordinator.
That's what it.
After a gain of 11, here comes a whistle and a flag. Penalties have hurt the Vikings today.
False start. Offense number 12. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's Charles Johnson, the receiver. You can see the breeze, too, on the hand legs of our referee. The wind kicking up down there.
You know, you get a defense like the Redskins have where they constantly show pressure and give you different looks. One way to combat it on offense is to change your cadence and give you hard counts or double cadences or whatnot. And that got him right there. Charles Johnson got to be able to hold in there, not give up 5 yards there for your offense.
Like 20. That's what it.
On 1st and 15, Bridgewater hurries, throws, his receiver fell down. There was no tripping visible. Chase Ford, the tight end, stumbled on his own. That's the way it looked with the throw from Bridgewater.
Well, they may not like it here in the stadium, but there was clearly no pass interference there. If there was any contact, it was incidental. They were both running, tracking the football.
Looked like he was open and in the clear, but couldn't stay on his feet. So that's 2nd and 15. Wind blowing the football off the mark.
This is an interesting stadium in that regard. You know, the wind's always blowing one way off the lower side of that stadium. It definitely affects kicks and some balls downfield.
In the face of the Vikings and their quarterback at the moment.
20. That's what happened.
4-man rush. Bridgewater has to roll deep. McKinnon is brought down right away. Harry Riley Jr. on the tackle. Let's check in with Joel Klatt.
All right, thanks, Chris. Let's take you down to Houston, where Nick Foles has left the game. Mark Sanchez in the game, and he throws a touchdown to Jordan Matthews, the rookie from Vanderbilt in the back of the end zone. 11-yard TD catch. 14-7 Eagles. Back to Minnesota. Chris and Rondé.
Thank you. So the Eagles, the Cowboys are leading at home against Arizona 10-7. The Redskins of the NFC East leading here 10-0.
Take that 5 down.
After a loss of 4, 3rd and 19, underneath the tight end, Allison knocked down right away. And the Viking offense is going nowhere.
Penalties have hurt them. Some lost yardage plays are hurting them. You get in these 3rd and long situations, Chris, and there's really nothing you can do. You don't want to put the rookie in a position where he's trying to force the ball down the field and get 19 yards. So play it underneath safe and play the field position battle. And again, their defense has to come up and make another stop when Washington gets the ball back here.
Have not had a turnover in this game, but 5 penalties against the Vikings have affected their field position and opportunity. Jeff Locke. Andre Roberts again, nowhere to go. It's Marcus Sherrills on the stop. Another excellent special teams play for the Vikings, who trail Washington 10-0. Xavier Rhodes back in the game, cleared from the concussion protocol. Our Jen Hale reporting from down on the field after that collision earlier on the Deshaun Jackson 45-yard catch. First down from the 26. Robert Griffin sets up and flips off the fingertips of Alfred Morris. It'll be 2nd down. This stadium primarily, obviously, a college stadium, so the play clock in a little bit of a different location than most NFL stadiums. And Robert Griffin was telling me the minute he shows up, see how it's up higher, usually it's down low, easier for quarterbacks to see, so they get the playoff in time. He said first thing he does when he comes out at any stadium away from home is find that clock, so he's aware. And that's what he did today. Morris spins out of a tackle. Eventually brought down across the 26 by Harrison Smith, who's been the Vikings' most consistent defensive player week in and week out.
Well, he had nothing going there on that stretch play away. You know, the idea of these stretch runs is you angle towards that outside leg of that tight end, and if you get any kind of penetration, which Minnesota did there, completely nullifies the run.
5 defensive backs going deep and incomplete. Pierre Garçon was the target. Xavier Rhodes pointed out just back in the game, running right with him. Garçon holding his hand or wrist for a moment. Once he got up, may have landed awkwardly. Looked like he may have been able to catch this football.
A great position there by Xavier Rhodes, and yeah, the ball went right through the basket there.
Before the punt, we have a whistle.
We had an injury on the field, downfield. Number 31 from Washington was injured. We did not stop the play to let him go off the field. We're going to reset 4th down, and we're going to punt.
So I don't know if he was referring to Garçon. There's number 31. That's your E.J. Biggers, your nickel back. Maybe he meant Garçon. So they'll re-kick it. No penalty, just the whistle stopping the play. Marcus Sherrill's back to receive the punt. Again, there's shadows here splitting the field almost in half with the sunlight. A high kick and a fair catch waited for. Inside the 24-yard line, 25 of Minnesota. Viking offense, which has only gotten to the 48 of Washington, will have a chance before the half. Cordero Patterson targeted 6 times in this game. He only has 1 catch of 9 yards. And Jarrett McKinnon the back.
That's 20! That's what hot!
From the 24, Bridgewater rolling and throwing to Jennings. Gets across the 30. It'll be second down. Jarrett McKinnon, by the way, came in leading all rookie runners with just under 400 yards, was averaging over 5 yards a carry. But in this game, McKinnon has 4 attempts for just 3 yards.
We talked about that in the open, that they need to establish a running game, be able to take some of this pressure off Teddy Bridgewater, and haven't been able to do it so far this afternoon.
From the 31. Off for a first down is Jarius Wright. We were wondering when he was going to appear. First NFL start for Bridgewater. He and Wright connected for over 100 passing yards, and it helped the Vikings to a victory and over 300 passing yards total in the game for Bridgewater in that first start.
We were on hand for that coming out party for both of those guys, but since then, Chris, he hasn't had the same type of production, hasn't had as many chances. You were talking about Cordero Patterson just a second ago, and last week against Tampa, he had all those targets, had his most receptions as a Viking. Haven't been able to get on track so far today.
First down from the 39. Going deep for Patterson, overthrown and hauled in with the interception out of bounds. David Amerson ran the ball down, but the official says out of bounds.
I tell you what, Chris, this may or may not be an interception, but you got the fastest guy on your team. Doesn't look like he's running that much there, but Teddy has not delivered the ball down the field very well today.
Should have been on the inside of his receiver.
They may want to review. This looks like an interception to me. I mean, he has control. I guess it comes down out of bounds. It doesn't look, yeah, they are going to challenge.
So the question will be, as you said, the control of the football. We will check. Ruled no interception. Challenged by the Redskins. Ruled no interception. Jay Gruden challenges on the Emerson catch of the sideline. It has been reviewed. And let's see what Gene Steratore comes up with. Our rules analyst Mike Pereira took a close look back in Los Angeles, said it should be an interception based on what he saw.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Incomplete pass. Washington will be charged his first time out of the half.
Let's bring in Mike Pereira for his thoughts. He disagrees with the ruling. Mike?
Yeah, I think here's the issue. He bobbles, but he gets control. He's going to get control here with his second hand. Watch here. Left knee's down, right elbow hits, ball hits ground, but he doesn't lose control. You know, to me, that is enough to overturn it to an interception. Again, the issue is he had control of the ball before it hit the ground, and he maintained control. So I thought it was a pick.
Thank you, Mike Pereira. Handoff McKinnon, who gets up near the 45. Jake Gruden 0 for 6 on challenging replays. League-wide, 36% of the challenges have actually been reversed. That's across the National Football League. The Vikings do have the football. They trail 10-0 at the 2-minute warning in Minnesota. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Facing a 3rd and 4 from their own 45.
You're lying. 4 down. 4 down? Yeah, he's fine.
Matt Asiata goes to the bottom of your screen as a receiver. The quick throw is a first down catch, spinning out of the tackle. Chase Ford, and eventually brought down in Redskin territory.
Important 3rd down conversion there. And underneath this 2 minutes, this offense hasn't done anything past the 50 all day today. Of course, they got to get some points out of this drive. Feel good going into halftime.
All 3 timeouts for the Vikings. Approaching a minute and a half. Underneath to Matt Asiata. Good tackling by Perry Riley Jr. And we're going to get a timeout for Minnesota. They'll have 2 remaining. We mentioned the other teams playing bye weeks for the Lions, the Bears, and Packers all in the Central. And on the NFC East side for the Redskins, the Cardinals lead Dallas by 4 in the second quarter, and the Eagles are tied with Houston in the second quarter. Visa halftime report with highlights and updates on all those games.
This situation in the game, if you know Jim Haslett, he starts feeling some pressure getting towards the alumni zone, so to speak, this 40-40. He likes to bring the house. We're going to see some pressures here, I think, coming from this Redskins defense right now.
More than 20 blitz he puts in for this game. As you said, they have a blitz of the day every week for the new opponent.
Roger.
Hey, loco.
It's a bluff.
Back 20.
On 2nd and 4. He gets out of a 4-man rush, signaling right to go deep. He caught it, but was he in bounds? The official says no. Looked like Colt McCoy on Monday night, signaling the guy down the sideline. Only this one out of bounds.
Teddy did a real good job stepping up in the pocket there. Just having that ability to communicate. I know they got to find a way to get on target here with these 2 young players.
That might be worth it. Is that worth it? No?
No, I think his left foot lands out of bounds there. That was a nice improvisational play there by Teddy.
Colt McCoy looking on now 3rd and 4 for Mike Zimmer's team. They're going into that tricky wind, the open part of the end zone. Again, just a 4-man rush. Pass is caught. Doesn't look like it's enough for Chase Ford to get a first down.
I think they're going to go for this.
As opposed to trying a long field goal.
Kicking this way, there's a difference. That wind swirls around.
Timeout, excuse me.
Sorry, yeah, that wind swirls around going this way. So I don't think there's any chance that he attempts what would be a 57-yard field goal at this point.
Now, Blair Walsh has had his season long is 55, his career long is 56, and he has been terrific beyond 50. Made 2 of his 55-yard field goals this year.
Yeah, but the offense is going to stay on in the field. You know, it's
4th and 2.
It's just, again, this wind coming this way, the scoreboard affects the, dynamics of the wind in this stadium. Go for it on 4th down here. Find get the first down, create some points that way.
3 wide receivers, top of your screen, empty backfield on 4th and 2. Here comes Matt Asiata to join Bridgewater. He's going to get out of the rush and try to run or throw. He throws again. There's a flag down, and Wright was out of bounds. Awkward looking play on 4th and 2.
4th and 2. Why didn't he just run?
Eligible man downfield. Offense number 75. Penalty is declined. First down, Washington.
That's Matt Khalil, who is downfield, but you can't blame him.
Can't blame Matt Khalil here. Teddy has the opportunity, and clear opportunity, to try to get this first down with his feet. I'm not sure why he felt the need to throw this football away. It's 4th down, Teddy.
And he has said that he runs to throw, not to necessarily keep it on the ground. But in that case, all you needed was 2 yards, and he could have gotten out of bounds. So Robert Griffin, who's been the story today, along with the Redskin defense. Washington takes over at the 39. Griffin 8 out of 12, over 100 yards through the air. Ballou Jr. to back. And he's going to come out throwing. And it's intercepted by Captain Munnerlyn. They're going to say he's down right away, but what a turn of events.
Robert Griffin steps into this ball, but it really came out with nothing on it.
Was he ever touched? Yes, he was. Correctly called and an alert play by Roberts.
Well, they're going to review this one, too. This ball
hit the ground?
Looked like it hit the ground. I mean, it's bouncing back up into his chest when he gets up.
Was his arm underneath?
But
under 2 minutes, it'll be reviewed automatically as a turnover anyway.
Whoa. This is going to be good.
It's going to be reviewed.
Hands are clearly under it there, but you can't tell.
There has to be, and we spoke to the officials before the game, even the replay official, indisputable evidence to overturn any ruling on the field.
And they're going to question whether he had possession as he was getting up off the ground there, because the ball's clearly moving when he comes up.
While they take a look, let's check in back in Los Angeles with Kurt Menefee.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime, we'll catch you up on everything happening all around the league here in Week 9, including Alex Smith with a wild and crazy touchdown you've got to see, and A.J. Green returning to the field in Cincinnati. It's all coming up on the Visa Halftime.
Thank you, Kurt. We'll look forward to the highlights. What a matchup with the Cardinals leading the Cowboys 14-10. The Eagles, Nick Foles injured in that Eagle game, but here, Robert Griffin's throw intercepted. That's the ruling on the field. On a low throw as Captain Munnerlyn went to scoop it. Mike Pereira watching with us, and our second review already here. And as Mike gets settled into his command center in Los Angeles, Mike, what do you see?
Well, here's the issue on this one. I think the ball's on the ground, but I don't think you can see it. That's what they have to be looking at back in New York. Does it go through the hands here and hit the ground to make it incomplete? You get the hands underneath it. To me, indisputable. We thought the other one was, and they didn't reverse it. Here, to me, this one, I just don't think you can tell because you don't get a clear look of the ball on the ground.
We talked to Gene Steratore before the game, and he said, when you slow it down and you put these in frame by frame, you can make it look like anything, Mike, but in full speed, that's an interception, correct?
Yeah, and again, I agree with what Gene says, especially when you're dealing with the sideline. You do go.
And let's look at real speed on this, Mike.
You do go at right, and they will look at this in real speed too, and that's one. But then they will get down to going frame by frame when it comes to these types of actions.
It does stand, and it may be the break the Vikings needed. An alert play by Munnerlyn. And an unfortunate throw for Robert Griffin.
Got it, Berksy.
We thank Mike Pereira for his help from the command center, and of course in New York with Dean Blandino and Alberto Riveron helping out the officiating crews across the league. 59 seconds, one timeout, Vikings on the takeaway. Four-man rush. Bridgewater with time, wide open. He catches it, gets his feet down. Greg Jennings at the 24 of Washington.
Well, you know, if you pick up the pressures from Washington, the secondary does some unconventional things, and David Amerson and the inside corner there just had no idea who should be covering him. It's E.J. Biggers, and hard to imagine a guy gets that wide open in the secondary in a 2-minute situation.
22-yard completion, and it only took 5 seconds. Bridgewater on the move, throws it away. And the coverage was good everywhere. It'll be 2nd and 10, 48 seconds. Again, that one timeout for Mike Zimmer. Jim Haslett been a little less blitz happy than we thought. You said in the opening, Bridgewater has to be careful he's not blitzed into submission.
He has not been so far. I haven't really had those situations, but as you get closer to the red zone, the Redskins love to bring pressure, but they are sitting back in a lot of zones today.
That's Greg Jennings in motion, leading receiver today for the Vikings. Bridgewater moving around to Matt Asiata, who gets out of bounds, but only gains 3 or 4. It'll be 3rd down and 42 seconds. The rookie today, sacked twice, has not turned it over. In fact, the only turnover was the Captain Munnerlyn interception moments ago here in the first half. So spotted right at the 20. Vikings try to get their first points of this game. Facing a 3rd and 6. Cordero Patterson, top of your screen, and the slot there is Greg Jennings.
Teddy's got to be really careful here. This pressure is definitely coming.
For the end zone, touchdown, Chase Ford. The Vikings are on the board.
Great play here by Teddy. You know, the Redskins showed pressure, but they all backed out. And just look, Ryan Clark, you got to imagine his main responsibility there is chase forward, but he looks back like he has somebody there helping him. There's some definite confusion going on the back end for these Redskins right now.
Chase Ford emerging as the receiving tight end. Remember Kyle Rudolph inactive. He's been out injured. They hope for a healthy return in a couple of weeks. And his first career touchdown catch. The extra point, and all of a sudden it's a 3-point game. For Teddy Bridgewater, his 3rd touchdown pass in his NFL career. This is 5th start. A 20-yarder to 4.
Started obviously with the interception by Captain Munnerlyn. They're able to capitalize, get points going into the half. It was a huge momentum change, and you go back to that interception and saw that picture there, Robert Griffin saying that it's on him. Can't make that type of play in a 2-minute drive. Good job by Minnesota to capitalize it and bring this game back to 3 points.
And they covered 46 yards in a hurry after struggling much of the first half, but the Viking defense kept them in it. And it was the turnover that changed the complexion of this game. Redskins will get the football to start the second half. They'll still have 36 seconds and 2 timeouts if they want to try and do anything here. In Bridgewater's passing array, 4 catches for Jennings, for Matt Asiata, and for Chase Ford, who found the end zone.
It hasn't looked like he's done a lot today, but getting the ball into that many guys' hands it's impressive.
And part of it is, we always hear the cliche, protect the football, and the rookie quarterback has done that.
He definitely has done that.
Greg Jennings, the veteran, talking to that offensive unit. You see Jarek McKinnon and John Sullivan, the center, Joe Berger, the right guard.
He's telling these guys all they got to do is protect, and we're going to find a lot of holes in his secondary tonight.
This will be a touchback. Check your calendars. You'll see that tonight is Sunday Fun Day. That means a wild, brand new night of the best comedies on TV. It all starts at 7 Eastern, 6 Central tonight on Fox. And we want to say hi if you're watching on Fox 5 in Washington, D.C. or Fox 9 in Minneapolis, our affiliates, wherever you're watching the NFL on Fox. Rondé and I and crew with our producer Mike Burks, director Michael Frank, and all the people that work so hard enjoying another game here. The return of Robert Griffin III and the emergence of Teddy Bridgewater. Redskins, knowing they'll get the football in the third quarter, or at least will be kicked to, decide to run it out. Griffin 8 of 13, but he had the interception that turned the tide. So at the end of the half here in Minneapolis, Redskins over the Vikings by the score of 10-7. Now, there was some debate in Washington, Rondé, about whether you start Robert Griffin, who said he was ready last week on Monday night against Dallas. We will explore the answer to that in the second half of this game as we now head to Los Angeles at Kurt Menefee for the Visa Halftime Report. Vikings will be kicking off to Washington to start the third quarter. Today's excitement brought to you by Nissan. An exciting close to the first half after the Captain Munnerlyn interception of Robert Griffin. Teddy Bridgewater with a touchdown pass. His number 17 of 28, the rookie quarterback, keeping his team in it. As we welcome you back to our booth getting ready for the kickoff. The headline story, Robert Griffin, who's run 3 times and passed for over 100 yards. But the Washington defense had a shutout going until right before the half.
You know, that defense had some obvious breakdowns in the secondary there on those last 2 drives, and Minnesota was able to capitalize, and they hadn't really done much all day on that side of the ball, Chris. They hadn't passed the 50-yard line until the last 5 minutes of that first half. So as we come into this game, into this half, we'll get a chance to see if Washington was able to correct any of those issues that have been going on in the secondary, get back to the way they were playing earlier in the football game.
Andre Roberts back to receive the kick. You see the breeze taking the ball off the tee. Blair Walsh came in. 77% of his kickoffs have been touchbacks this season. That's 4th best in the NFL. And he had a touchback earlier in this game. Both teams come in 3-5, both coming off overtime road wins, and both have used 3 quarterbacks already this season, passing the halfway point. This will bounce, and he's bringing it out. And a win for the Vikings special teams. They keep him from getting to the 20-yard line. I think there's a scramble for the football, but the whistle blew, at least from up here, sounded as if he was down already. And Washington will take over at the 15-yard line. So let's talk about the debate of whether Robert Griffin would be ready, whether he would be rusty. Looks like he's done everything he wanted to, and the only real miscue was that interception.
Well, you just can't throw that ball away. Going into halftime, they had an opportunity to go down and get even more points. Instead, Minnesota was able to turn the field and get some points out of that. But Robert has looked good to me today. Obviously, he's helped the running game. Just the threat of him being in there gives Alfred Morris just that little bit more room, and they've capitalized that earlier in the football game. And I thought he delivered the ball pretty well to his receivers, except for that one ill-advised throw or bad throw there at the end of the half.
Morris averaging over 5 a carry in this game. He gets the carry, his 12th carry of this game, over 55 yards rushing for Alfred Morris. It'll be second down, and let's head down to the field and Jennifer Hale.
Well, Chris, Vikings coach Mike Zimmer had some strong words of rebuke for his team at halftime about what he described as a lack of urgency. Now, this is the most deep balls Teddy Bridgewater has attempted so far in his young NFL career. Zimmer tells me that's the game plan going in and the one they'll stick with in this half, Coach. Chris?
Thanks, Jen. The wind could be a little bit of a factor here. On the run is Griffin, and he goes down short of the 20. Everson Griffin making the stop. And the Redskins are going into that direction you talked about of the wind on this drive.
Get a boot out of the pocket, and it's really the onus is on the quarterback to make the defensive end miss, which he did at first, but Everson stuck with it and got a sack there.
Need to get to the 28 for a first down on third down. Roy Halou Jr. checks in. Five-man rush, and down goes Griffin. Chad Greenwood with the sack.
Big plays by this Vikings defense now. You see they got the double-A gap pressure, give you some looks. One of them's going to bounce out, and Chad Greenway powers through that double team and gets the sack. Minnesota loves to do that. Mike Zimmer invented that scheme. A lot of teams have copied it, but nobody does it as good as his teams.
Punting from his own end zone. Marcus Sherrills backs up. Flag down, and he's knocked down. The ball's loose, and the Vikings are on it. Recovering the loose ball for the Vikings, Trenton Robinson. Let's check the flag. It was an awkward-looking return.
Well, he was kicking that into the wind, Chris, and just boomed it. I don't think Marcus Sherrills thought that ball was going to travel that far. He was uncomfortable trying to get underneath that thing.
5 penalties on the Vikings. They hurt him in the first half. 2 on Washington.
The illegal procedure player goes out of bounds on his own on the kicking team, number 47. We're going to penalize 5 yards and replay fourth down.
Call on the Redskins.
You can get contacted out of bounds and go into the white, but when a defender doesn't put his hands on you and push you out of there, it becomes illegal procedure, and that's exactly what happened there. Minnesota would have had the opportunity to take 5 yards here. I think it's smart. Keep them backed up. Keep Washington backed up now. Obviously, it's going to help your field position. Punting out of the end zone now.
Especially with the wind you mentioned, that was Akeem Davis, the infraction called on. And now the ball spotted at the 5, so we might see a pressure rush.
Well, once the ball gets inside of the 5-yard line, Chris, it affects the depth of the punter. He's not at his normal depth, so it's a shorter kick. Good job. I think smart decision accepting that penalty, pushing him back. Usually you kick from this position, you get points out of the next drive.
The pressure, but he gets it away. And a high kick. Sherrills inside the 45 of Minnesota. Did a nice job of getting the ball out of there. Minnesota will take over at their own 44-yard line after Chad Greenway and the Viking defense did its job against the Redskins. Beautiful fall day in Minneapolis. Tressway with a 51-yard punt into the wind. On first down, Jerick McKinnon will be knocked down short of the 45 by Ryan Clark from his safety spot. The Redskins did have one punt blocked this year, but Wade did an excellent job of getting it out of his own end zone.
Only 7 punters, Chris, have averaged over 50 yards or more over the course of a season. And Tressway, I mean, that ball felt like it was, we're way up on top of the stadium. It felt like it was eye level with us. That was a bomb. He's averaging 49.7 this year. That's an asset now.
Back 20! Back 20!
Bridgewater sets to throw and has to get rid of it quickly. That's McKinnon, who puts a move on. He's down to the 40 of Washington. There's a flag down back where Bridgewater went down. Keenan Robinson came in on Teddy Bridgewater.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 52 of the defense. 15-yard penalty is added to the end of the run. First down, Minnesota.
Keenan Robinson put a pretty good rush move on right there. You'll see him come into the screen here a little bit, fighting the back, fighting the load hold, and just you can't dump a quarterback. That's just a dumb penalty. I mean, obviously the ball is out. Even if it wasn't out, you cannot do that to a quarterback. Actually, we saw this in a New Orleans game with the Vikings. Captain Munnerlin did it to Drew Brees.
Turned the tide of that football
game. And it turned the tide in that game, and you cannot do it.
Lift the quarterback and plant him. So 15 on the pass play, and then 15 on the penalty. And the Vikings set up at the 25 of Washington.
That's it. Back 20. Back 20.
Bridgewater gets away from the rush. Floats one for McKinnon out of bounds. Just got rid of it. Let's get a game break. Check in with Joel Klatt.
All right, Chris, let's go to Cleveland. And this was the first time Tampa Bay actually led at halftime all season, and it quickly evaporated. Terrence West, 2-yard touchdown from Brian Hoyer, 16-10. Browns over Tampa Bay. Chris, Rondé, and Jen.
Thank you, Joel. Rondé, if the Bucs called, they asking you to come back and help out.
I can feel the smirk on your face there, Joel Klatt.
He was throwing that in just for you, that note about leading. Here, the Redskins have led from the start. Vikings on the move with McKinnon, a big hole. All the way inside the 10. It's first and goal, Vikings.
Real big cutback lane there for Jerick McKinnon. Hasn't been able to get anything going, but watch the hidden yardage at the end of this play, Chris. This is what makes this young rookie running back impressive. Now, the hole is enormous. I mean, come on. Chris, you could run for 15 yards through that, but watch him put his pads down. He's a diminutive guy. Pick up those extra yardage. That was a nice play.
15-yard pickup. And he remains the back. McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon loses the ball at the end of the play. Was he whistled down? Yes, says the official. Down inside the 1.
Short of the end zone. 2nd and goal, Minnesota.
Gene Steratore, part-time announcer, part-time referee, making it very clear it was not a fumble.
Again, same play the other way. Just look what he did to Perry Riley there. Just shifty guy. Obviously, that's not a fumble. He slams the ball on the ground trying to get that extra yardage. But Jerick McKinnon, you know, we saw that breakout game. He is an impressive back now.
But Matt Asiata's been the touchdown man, and there he goes into the end zone for the Vikings.
You almost feel bad for Jerick McKinnon. Gets the ball all the way down and gives it to Matt Asiata for the touchdown. But an impressive drive for Minnesota. Obviously, the roughing the passer helped them get down the field. But 2 big runs from the rookie running back and Matt Asiata, who's done it all year when they get in the red zone, punching it in for the touchdown.
Felt the momentum shift right before the half on the Munnerlyn interception and the Viking touchdown. Matt Asiata, 8th career touchdown. All of them scored at home. Jerick McKinnon got him down close. Rookie Jerick McKinnon drafted in the 3rd round with the selection that the Vikings got from Seattle going back to the Percy Harvin trade. He's since moved on, of course, to the Jets, but a multi-threat quarterback at Georgia Southern. He threw only 81 passes, but he ran for almost 4,000 yards and 42 touchdowns in college, and he spearheaded that drive.
He's patient runner. He has some make a guy a miss ability. He's impressive, man. 5 carries for 9 yards. That many on that.
Andre Roberts from the goal line all the way out up across the 40. A sparkling return of 45 yards.
Mike Zimmer's talking about the poor play of his special teams, and see that wedge? Guys not committed to their lanes right there. You got a big gash for Andre Roberts. You were just talking about momentum, Chris. Big return sometimes can take the air out of that. Let's see here what Washington comes out on offense, see if they can get something going, or Minnesota continues to play, or if Minnesota continue to play well on defense here.
44-yard line, Robert Griffin leading the offense. He's set to throw. On the move now. Pressure coming. He's going to go down at the 40. Brian Robinson. He's been getting close all season long.
Came in with only a sack and a half, but the film tells you he should have a whole lot more. Now, he does a great job hustling down and getting this tackle, but Robert Griffin cannot hold on to this ball this long. You know he's rusty. You know he's coming back, trying to find his receivers downfield. But heck of a play there, and reeling him in. The avid angler, as he likes to call himself.
He took the right angle on that play and loves to fish in the Great Lakes area. Sacked on the last 3 dropbacks. Robert Griffin now 2nd and 14. Pressed to throw again. They set up the screen. Roy Halou One of the great screen backs in the game today gets across midfield. It'll be 3rd down and short.
It's a get back on track kind of play right there. And no better guy to get it to than Roy Halou. He's 2nd in the league as far as receptions by a running back or yards by a running back to Matt Forte in Chicago. And when they need a big play, it's usually coming from him as a 3rd down guy. Sets up a 3rd and 4 situation here.
Wide open middle of the field. 1st down inside the 35 is Jordan Reed. The pressure has been on Robert Griffin all day.
Yeah, they've been getting after him. You see the rookie Anthony Barr get in, just running through people. And Everson Griffin, we highlighted him at the beginning of our show. He's relentless. Greenway there. Brian Robinson, just moments ago, getting another sack.
2nd in the NFL in sacks, this Viking defense, and they have shown that so far. After a gain of 17, Alfred Morris the back from the 33 of Minnesota. Floating one down toward the sideline and incomplete. Trying to go to Andre Roberts. Captain Munnerlyn, who had the interception before the half, running with him.
Good coverage here. You know, you get a guy, we used to call that a sail route, when the number 2 receiver from the sideline runs into that void. You got a whole bunch of room back there to throw that ball in. But Captain Munnerlyn, who had the interception to really turn the tide, really, for this Vikings defense, with great coverage right there.
Redskins in field goal range for Kai Forbath, who already has 1 made kick today.
Easy. Can't. Bino.
Alfred Morris inside the 30, pounds his way down to the 23-yard line. Looks like he's just short of the 1st down.
Redskins running attack is primarily zone in nature, but they haven't been able to get out on the edge much this year. They haven't done a good job at it. So one way to combat that is to give the ball to Alfred Morris who's on pitches, and we've seen it a couple times today. Able to pick up some yardage there.
3rd and 1. Robert Griffin has it. Slides early. Now here comes the flag. Harrison Smith hit him after he slid down.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. 22 defense blow to a sliding quarterback's head. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
Now that's a tricky call when a guy's running for a 1st down.
Well, you know what, Chris? Look, he's a runner now. They run the read option. I got to say, I don't agree with this play, with this call, with this penalty. And fake the read option. When he runs the read option, he's no longer a quarterback. They made this rule clear last year. When he fakes the read option, he is now a runner. So the rule is him being a sliding quarterback should no longer apply. I think that's a bad penalty.
Well, it would have been 4th down, and the fans here, they don't like it. They agree with you. Harrison Smith barely touched him. First down, 13-yard line. Griffin throws. Caught. Deshaun Jackson for a touchdown. And Harrison Smith still upset about the call that turned this place around.
Well, you got to give it to Washington there. Come back. I think getting fortunate with the call, but Deshaun Jackson, simple slant route. Captain Munnerlyn just not quick enough to get underneath that ball to make a play, and they're going to take a look at this. Obviously, it's a scoring play to see if he's over the line. It looks like he is there.
Ruled a touchdown on the field. The fans are still booing after that hit call on the quarterback and the call against Harrison Smith.
The previous play is going to be reviewed.
They're going to review it and see where his knee is down, and it's down there, but the ball, you can see all it has to do is touch that white line. I think it's a touchdown for the Redskins.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
It was close, but ruled a touchdown, not enough to overturn it. That right knee made it worth reviewing.
Well, again, I think this is the right call. I mean, you can nitpick it all you want, but it should have been a touchdown. It was.
The extra point, only 4 have been missed this year. So over 99%. The Redskins actually had one block week 1. But now it's a 3-point game. 4th touchdown catch of the season for Deshaun Jackson. The first touchdown pass for Robert Griffin. In a game of momentum shifts, the kickoff return set up the offense. A break on a penalty. A debatable call against Harrison Smith, who has 9 tackles in the game for the Vikings. Set up what would have been 4th down, a first down, and then in the end zone, Deshaun Jackson from Robert Griffin. And the extra point from Forbath. It's a 3-point Redskin lead. They take the lead back here in the third quarter.
Kai Forbath's kicking shoe. Got his kickoff shoe on now.
See if he kicks it away from Cordero Patterson. This goes away in the end zone. He's bringing it out 8 yards deep. Patterson tries to put a move on. He gets knocked down at the 10-yard line. Adam Hayward with a special teams play for the Redskins. Mike Pereira, let's go back to the play with Robert Griffin and the call. Sliding player, not necessarily sliding quarterback.
Yeah, let's remember here now, any runner is protected. If he slides feet first, he gets the protection from being hit late or in the head or neck area. And that's the key, head or neck area. Izzy, when you see the hit here, looks to me like it goes over the top. I don't like the call. I don't think there was the type of contact there that merits a foul.
Well, we would agree that he never hit him. Hand off Jerick McKinnon up across the 15-yard line. Maybe that's one of those things where the official, as you said, watching live action versus a replay, they would see it was close, but there was no contact with Harrison. And Mike Zimmer still is giving it to Gene Steratore, as are the fans here.
Yeah, we get the benefit of the slow motion frame-by-frame replay, and to us it didn't look like it. I didn't think it was on the field. It ended up being a huge call.
Second down, McKinnon, who carried the load on the ground on the last drive in which the Vikings produced a touchdown. It'll bring up third down. Yeah, that's one of those where Mike Zimmer might get a note the following week from the league saying, yeah, you were right, but that doesn't help him right now.
Never does. It doesn't even make you feel better, actually.
Mike Zimmer, who spent 3 years with Jay Gruden in Cincinnati. He coached the defense. Jay Gruden coached the offense. They were in the building a lot. In fact, he said, I hate going against my friend because somebody is going to be disappointed at the end of the day. And Jay Gruden said, we were competitive as coaches in practice. We'd go after each other.
It's a great storyline for this game. We haven't talked much about it, but that relationship is unique.
Matt Asiata on third and short. The Redskin defense stuffs it. Who will they spot this?
It originally looked like he was going to fall forward, but see where this spot comes down.
It's like a measurement.
Our yellow line, the ball looks like it's on it, but of course that's superimposed. That hit right there looks like he's on that hit right there. Looks like he's going to fall forward, but it'll be tough. I think it's all. I've always thought it's tough for a ref to come in and spot those balls. It's almost a guessing game.
That's how much. Talking about 4 chain links, if that. So a big stop from the Redskin defense.
You got to punt it here. It's far too. You're in your negative territory. There's no question. Mike Zimmer has to punt this ball away, even though it is an inch.
Jeff Locke, who has been busy. And Roberts, who had the big kickoff return of 45 yards, back on the punt return. With the wind to his back, it's kind of an end-over-end short kick. Fair catch called for all the way up around the 48-yard line of Washington, where the Redskin offense takes over, and Washington has regained the lead. Mike Zimmer, first-year head coach who still calls the defensive signals, one of only 3 current head coaches in the league that call the defense. Mike Pettine in Cleveland, Rex Ryan with the Jets, the others. Of course, 9. The offensive signals, as Jay Gruden does for this Redskin team. Robert Griffin at first down has time. Backpedals and throws on target, who slips a tackle. Niles Paul going out of bounds with a Washington first down. And Robert Griffin III today running the ball as well as throwing it. On the ground, Alfred Morris with 67 yards on the 14-yard touchdown run. And Deshaun Jackson, the touchdown catch moments ago. After a gain of 14 from the 37 of Minnesota.
Hey, Oscar! Hey, 52A! Ready!
Morris down to about the 31 and shoved back. Let's check in for a game break. We'll get to that game break in a moment. We'll check the flag here.
Illegal use of hands to the face, defense, number 99. 5-yard penalty added to the end of the run. First down.
On backup lineman Corey Wooten. All right, now let's check in with Kurt Menefee. Kurt?
Yeah, you saw the play. Here's the story. Chris Polk, 8-yard touchdown run for the Eagles. That was a 4-play, 70-yard drive, all runs by Philadelphia. They were up by 10 to start the fourth quarter in Houston. Chris and Rondé.
Thanks, Kurt. At a twist of fate on the day Robert Griffin returns for the Redskins, Nick Foles is injured for the Eagles in the NFC East, and Tony Romo does not start, injured for the Cowboys in that division. As Alfred Morris goes down inside the 18-yard line of the Vikings. Now, Jake Gruden said that Morris was a guy who missed some plays early, missed some holes through the course of the season.
Watch big number 71 right here. Pulling all the way from a tackle all the way to the other side of the field and spring that run there for Alfred Morris. You don't see many tackles pull. You got a guy that big, that athletic. Trent Williams is probably one of the better ones at left tackle in the NFL.
And Morris today behind that has not missed many opportunities, averaging almost 5.5 yards a carry. Roy Halou Jr. in on 2nd and 2. Pass is high for Halou. It'll be third down. New this season, stream live local Sunday afternoon games right on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. Robert Griffin has been mobile, running 4 times. Maybe the most impressive was the slide in which he got a late hit that gave the Vikings, the Redskins a first down, a call on the Vikings. Now he's got a 3rd and 2.
Redskins like to get the ball out here. It's number 86 when he's lined up away from trips.
And straight ahead, Halou, who fights hard to get down to the 15 and should be good enough. And it is for a Redskin first down. 3.5 minutes just about here in the third quarter. Silas Redd, the rookie running back, who sits 3rd behind Morris and Halou Jr., inactive for this game.
52A!
Deshaun Jackson goes to the bottom of your screen. And a touchdown catch last drive for Washington. Robert Griffin keeps, waits for a block, goes down to the 5.5-yard line.
That was the first time today that we've actually seen Robert get up the field running the football. And that was a designed, he got a puller out in front of him. Nice designed play here. And obviously this is what he did during his fabulous rookie season.
Go right to the line after a gain of 9. Alfred Morris knocked down right away. Anthony Barr, best tackler on the team, showed you that.
Anthony Barr, haven't called his name a bunch. But look where he was lined up at the end of the line of scrimmage and absolutely olayed the tight end that was trying to block him.
Olayed?
Olayed.
That's another 3rd down. They need 3. Morris stays in. Pressure coming on Griffin. He has to get rid of it. And threw it into the stands. Some fan making a nice catch. It'll be 4th down. Everson Griffin, he talked about his game built on speed.
See him right there on Trent Williams. Look how fast he gets to the quarterback there. And we know how we were just talking about how good an athlete Trent was. And Everson Griffin looks like, I mean, that film looked like it was in fast motion, like they were fast forwarding it on that play.
Big stop by the Viking defense forces a field goal try of 26 yards. I-4 hit one earlier in the game from 36. He's made 10 in a row. He'll make it 11. And the Redskins open up a 6-point lead. Saturday, the UFC returns to Fox Sports 1, an epic night of fights from Brazil. UFC Fight Night, Saturday, 10:30 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Also streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Redskins scored first in this game, built a 10-0 lead right before the half after a Robert Griffin interception, a touchdown pass. Teddy Bridgewater to Chase Ford. And then Matt Asiata scoring in the 3rd quarter. Washington getting a touchdown to Deshaun Jackson and some field goals, and that's been the story in this game, the return of Robert Griffin III.
It's a good look right there.
Halloween continues.
Like that look. It's almost like he's a Viking.
It'll keep your head warm. It's actually not, it was cooler yesterday here.
Oh, it's a beautiful day today.
Nice fall day. I saw you back down on the field, wishing you were in a uniform, returning to your roots. Maybe not that, a little exaggerated. Okay. But the shadows there make it a little bit cooler when that breeze kicks in.
You know what, this is interesting. I asked them this last time we had a game here, why they chose that side, because usually they're on the same side we're on in the booth, but as it gets later in the year, obviously, that sun is going to be keeping them warm while it's cold over here in the shadow of the stadium on this side.
Cordero Patterson on a bounce. Goes down at the 24-yard line. And the Viking offense will take over. Let's head down to the field and Jennifer Hale.
Well, Coach Jay Gruden told me at halftime he's been very pleased with Robert Griffin's composure and what he's been able to do in this game. Right now, Griffin huddled up underneath a blanket on that cold Redskins sideline. Gruden has checked on him several times throughout this game, and his message has been consistent to urge Robert Griffin to stay composed and to stay confident in what he's doing. He says as long as Griffin doesn't give this one away, he'll be just fine. Chris?
They're neighbors, actually. They have houses right across from each other. Jay Gruden and Robert Griffin.
That's what he had.
As Bridgewater sets up to throw. And off the hands of Greg Jennings. In fact, Jay Gruden said he came home and his son, one of his sons who plays football, was injured. He saw a guy that bringing ice to the house. It was Robert Griffin coming over from next door, helping out with a bag of ice. It's a good working relationship.
A neighborly thing to do. Robert there sitting with the coordinator Sean McVay, and yeah, they there's not that where their facility is. We all know. I mean, it's out in the middle of nowhere. So,
well, and Robert Griffin said, "Hey, Jay Gruden thinks he's hard on us because he was a quarterback in his day at Louisville, and of course in the Arena League, thinks he could make all the throws." Bridgewater's a throw, and caught by Charles Johnson, a fingertip grab for a Viking first down.
That was a decisive throw right there. I like that coming out of his hands. Teddy has to make these type of decisions, quick decisions, especially on these short underneath throws, and that's what you're looking for. If you're Scott Turner, who we mentioned earlier in the game, that's what he's looking for out of Teddy. Decisive. Don't second guess yourself. Usually your first read is the right read. Just let it rip, and he did right there.
He's attempted 32 passes already in this game, completing 19. He's going to take off and run. He's got room. Teddy Bridgewater, first down in Redskin territory.
He usually likes to use his legs to create some room in the passing game, but right there he did a good job, I thought, Chris, stepping up into the pocket. And when he didn't have anybody in front of him, just take off and go. Get that positive yardage. Nice play.
His first run of the game, and he picks up 16 yards. From the 47 of Washington. Matt Ossie out of the back.
That's what he had.
Bridgewater's throw to an open receiver, Jennings, who is going to be brought down inside the 34 of Washington. And earlier in the game, Bridgewater, they've been working on the deep throws. They say that he's not as sharp in that area. It was Jennings who had a step.
He's really not. You know, he
So
missed the wide open Patterson here. Jennings, some of these balls down the field, been floating on him, allowing defenders to make some plays. And right before half, he finally found a big play to his tight end, Chase Ford. And since then, he's been much more efficient with the ball, delivering it down the field, making some good decisions, and moving this Vikings offense much better than he was earlier in the game.
On first down, Matt Asiata gets down to the 29. One catch in the game for Cordero Patterson as the third quarter comes to a close. The Vikings are on the move, but trailing Washington here, 20-14. You're watching the NFL on Fox. With Rondé Barber, Chris Myers here in the fourth quarter. Washington with the lead. Vikings have a 2nd and 5 at the 29 of the Redskins. Matt Asiata the back. He gets the carry, tries to power it out of the 25. Through 3 quarters, checking the numbers. The rush yards down for both teams.
Pretty balanced there in terms of the numbers there, but the most important one, and we talked about it earlier, is that number right there, 0 turnovers from Minnesota. Obviously, the interception led to points from Minnesota at the end of the half.
Are you surprised the Redskins haven't blitzed more?
I really am. You know, the young quarterback and with the success that they had last week against Dallas, I really am.
On third down and 1, Bridgewater has room to run for the first down, and he slides inside the 22.
You almost feel like, though, Jim Haslett, I mean, he said it was over the top in some of the conferences this week. And they had a specific game plan for Dallas, and it obviously doesn't translate to the next week. You change things up, and they've decided not to do it so far today. But you got to imagine, you said it, he has 20-something blitzes up. We're going to see it at some point in this game, probably when it comes to crunch time.
Bridgewater floating one in the area of his tight end Chase Ford, who had the touchdown catch, and that didn't have a chance. It'll be 2nd down. You're already in field goal range, but remember, this is the side of the end zone. You've talked about the breeze affecting a kick. Spotted at the 22, so it'll be 2nd down 2, and right now looking at about a 40-yard field goal based on what they do over the next couple of downs.
Lions!
Pass is caught. That's Rhett Ellison with a first down inside the 10. Vikings with a 1st and goal.
You want to talk about the maturity of a quarterback. Watch Teddy right here as he drops back. He starts right, comes back left, knowing that his outlet tight end Rhett Ellison is over here. But, you know, the subtle things that good quarterbacks do. You move the defense, and he moved Perry Riley there by looking to the right and had a wide open Rhett Ellison on the other side.
Matt Asiata, and yeah, he's got another Viking touchdown.
Really impressive drive there by Minnesota. Good balance all the way through. Teddy Bridgewater with some crucial runs on that drive, and Matt Asiata finishing off yet another touchdown drive for Minnesota.
A frustrated Jim Haslett. With the extra point, the Vikings will have the lead. 9 career touchdowns for Matt Asiata, and they've all come at home. And this one gives the Vikings a 4th quarter lead. Back in Minnesota, Matt Asiata's story, undrafted free agent signed by the Vikings, then cut. He had to work at a warehouse. 2012, played all 16 games on special teams. And then last year had 44 carries. This year, without Adrian Peterson, McKinnon and Asiata have emerged.
How about that note there at the bottom? All 9 of his touchdowns have been at home. That's spooky, yeah.
This Viking team lost its starting quarterback, starting running back, and starting tight end. And they're battling for their 4th win of this season. Just past the halfway point. Kick sails through. Redskins will take over at the 20-yard line.
Back to this touchdown. You know, you see defenders or offensive linemen pushing the sled. Well, watch what he does right here to Stephen Bowen. Bowen just pushes him, washes him down 3 gaps. And actually, Ryan Clark was coming over to make that tackle. And because he got pushed so far down inside, he tripped over him and gave a nice clear lane for Matt Asiata in that touchdown.
13 minutes of the 4th quarter remain. Redskins have led most of the day, trailed by 1.
Black.
Here comes a flag.
Ball start. Offense number 82. 5-yard penalty. First down.
I think the wind blew him out of his stance there.
I think the crowd may have had something to do with it. Logan Paulson, the call.
That was the slowest false start I think I've ever seen in my life.
Jordan Reed has not been as much a factor in the game today. It was just 1 catch from that tight end position.
Easy. Get. 84. Oh, shit.
1st and 15, Alfred Morris slips through and gets across the 22. Vikings digging in there for the football, but a healthy gain after that penalty.
Good adjustment there by Washington. That was going to be a stretch run to the right, and they saw that Minnesota had an overloaded side over there, and he checked, brought Niles Paul over and tossed it, and able to get some positive yardage out of that play, or it would have been dead otherwise.
Picked up 8. 87 yards rushing today for Alfred Morris.
Louis, 52.
DeSean Jackson got a step right on target. Jackson has it and brought down inside the 25 by Robert Blanton. A well-thrown ball right on cue from Robert Griffin to DeSean Jackson. 56 yards.
All year, we've had quarterbacks for Washington not be able to kick. Wow, what a route. Spinning out of there, and we've had quarterbacks all year not be able to keep up with DeSean Jackson's speed. And Robert Griffin, when he threw that, it looked like it may have been just a touch overthrown, but this guy can track anything.
And Griffin, I should say, told us yesterday, I'm the one quarterback, he didn't exactly word it that way, I can overthrow DeSean Jackson, I haven't practiced. He put that one right on the fingertips. Alfred Morris inside the Viking 20 and brought down. So some explosive plays from DeSean Jackson.
I mean, I almost don't. You look at Captain Marlin there. I almost don't blame him. That you never see routes like that. That was about as unique a go ball as I've ever seen right there.
Yeah, 3 catches for Jackson, 114 yards, and he has the touchdown. And already in field goal range from the 19 of Minnesota. Out to Morris, gets past the tackle, and then slammed down by Everson Griffin. And a busy day for Alfred Morris. He's carried 18 times for 90 yards. He has a touchdown run. He's also caught a couple of passes.
He's been the force in this offense, and we knew that he would be more of a factor with Robert Griffin in the game. There was a lot of questions about his ability. Got some reps off in the Dallas game, but so far today, he's been really good.
Ballou Jr. in on 3rd and 5. Robert Griffin on the move. What a throw and what a catch. He waited for Roy Ballou Jr., who's got a first down inside the 10, and it's 1st and goal Redskins.
the escapability. This is what the other two quarterbacks on this roster can't do, but you got to give a lot of credit there to Roy Halou, man. He did a lot of work to get open right there. He was covered early. His quarterback gave him some time to get open, and nice conversion for a first down.
Down to the 8-yard line after a gain of 8 when they needed the third down play. They got it. Halou stays in. Robert Griffin trying to put a move on. He's thrown down at the 12. He did not fool Everson Griffin.
Well, there's one guy on this defense who that's not going to work against, and that's Everson Griffin. Stayed home, basically just did his job. You see him up here at the top of the screen. Shuffle, agility. No way for Robert Griffin to get outside of him. Nice play there.
After a loss of 3, 2nd and goal. Griffin's pass caught. Deshaun Jackson spins out of bounds. It'll be 3rd and goal. And looks like there's a flag down.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense number 98. Low to the quarterback hand. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic. First down.
Linval Joseph, the call. And inside the 3, first down for Washington.
Linval Joseph, you'll see him right here in the middle of your screen later in this play. He's chucking a block there. It's hard to see on that picture. Let's try this picture. Oh, yeah. Come on. I can't do that.
That's tough for a coach to watch, but the Redskins in great position. Alfred Morris, the back. He gets the carry and into the end zone. Touchdown Redskins for Alfred Morris. His 2nd of the day. Who would have thought this would turn into a scoring affair?
I did certainly.
Washington may go for 2 here with a 5-point lead.
I certainly didn't have 47 points on the board in the 4th quarter for either one of these, but just a little belly play here, just cutting it back, and good block there by Niles Paul, pushing down that side of the Vikings defense to give Alfred Morris room to shimmy in there for a touchdown.
His best rushing totals of this season, 92 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And now the Redskins, who have not tried a 2-point conversion this season, will try and make it a 7-point difference instead of just 5. Redskins for 2, and don't count it. Play is over. Anthony Barr, the hero of last week, got in there on Robert Griffin. Alfred Morris gives the Redskins a 5-point lead here in the 4th quarter. Cordero Patterson, as a receiver, has not been much of a factor today for Minnesota. He has just 1 catch for 9 yards. Kai Forbath, kicking off, has played keep away, and Alfred Morris, 19 carries, 92 yards, and the go-ahead touchdown at the moment, despite the 2-point conversion failure. And the breeze kicking up. In fact, Mike Zimmer has done wind studies here, obviously playing, this is his home stadium for this season and next season. He'll be in this 4th quarter going into that direction, and we keep bringing it up, Rodney, in case there is a late field goal or a throw where the wind kicks up towards that open area.
I'm sure it will be a factor at some point. Kicking this way, the way Kai Forbath is now, definitely an advantage for the Redskins at the end of this football game.
7 yards deep. Here comes Patterson. His best return of the day, out to about the 28-yard line, where Teddy Bridgewater will try and respond to the rushing attack of Alfred Morrison and Robert Griffin. Here in the fourth quarter, under 9 minutes to go, and for the Redskins producing that 5-point lead. Of course, Robert Griffin's first game back since week 2. He has thrown for a touchdown. He's actually run the ball 6 times. Deshaun Jackson with some big plays, including a touchdown catch, and Alfred Morris a couple of touchdowns. So now it's the Vikings offense on the spot. They drove 76 yards the last time they had the football for a touchdown, with Jerick McKinnon in the backfield.
Back 20. That's what hit.
From the 27-yard line, Bridgewater flips it and somehow got rid of it to McKinnon to prevent a sack. Jarvis Jenkins was all over him.
Again, Teddy showing that he has some creativity. Yeah, Brett Favre played here at the end of his career. We used to see him do that all the time.
122. Come on, Chuck.
Here we go. Set. Back 20. That's what hit.
Bridgewater fakes to McKinnon, wide open, and he got him the football is Red Ellison. You could see it developing. It's just that Bridgewater had to turn and make the throw.
We see this play all the time. You'll see Red Ellison here inside at this tight end, and people just lose him. They just forget that he's over there. He looks like he's down blocking, but he sneaks out the backside and play action the other way, gets all Redskin defenders going there, and he's over there all by himself.
He and Chase Ford have combined for 8 catches from the tight end position. 8 different receivers have caught a pass from Bridgewater today. After a gain of 13, Bridgewater is on the run. Has to get rid of it. And incomplete for Jennings. Keenan Robinson put some pressure on and is helping him up. They want a flag on a late hit, but it's not happening. Not yet.
Hey, just a rush there. Murph, I mean, there's no penalty here. I mean, clean hit as he was delivering. I mean, that's where you're supposed to hit him. They coach it up. You know, the study film, that's it.
Ryan Clark, Trenton Robinson in as defensive back. McKinnon is the running back. Pass is incomplete for Jennings. Zimmer thought there might have been a hold over there.
I think they thought he interfered with Greg Jennings making this catch, but really they just fell over each other. At the end of this play, you'll see it here. Brashad actually makes a nice break on this.
Well, he reached out beyond 5 yards.
Maybe it would have been a touchy foul.
We've seen a few of those called today by Gene Steratore and this crew. Ryan Clark has come back out at the safety spot, bothered by a shoulder, bicep, and ankle problem all season long. Now 3rd down and 10. Open in between and caught at the 36 is Jarius Wright. Only his 2nd catch of the game.
Again, Washington runs some unconventional stuff. You see Brashad here. He's playing a trap corner, and he's got help over the top there with Brandon Merriweather, but there's a big void in that zone. There's no disruption of the receiver outside. Most quarterbacks aren't able to find that zone, but Teddy stood in there and made a great delivery for a big game.
Gain of 21 down to the 36 of Washington. Bridgewater again to the tight end. Did he stay in bounds? The official says yes. Chase Ford with a spectacular grab. Teddy says let's go quickly before they can review a challenge. And they go without a huddle to the line. After a gain of 21, McKinnon the carry down to the 15-yard line. Chase Ford with his 5th catch of the game.
Nice back shoulder throw there to Chase Ford too. It was obviously it looked close on the sideline. to everybody on the Redskins sideline, but it was not. He was not out of bounds. A good throw and catch, actually.
Bridgewater is 25 out of 41. Let's take another look at that play.
4 down. Mike's 56.
Yeah, he's got his heels in. It's catch.
He knew where his feet were. From the 15. Straight ahead McKinnon. It'll bring up third down. Under 6 minutes to play. The Cowboys are losing. Arizona with a 28-10 fourth quarter lead, 2 minutes remain. The Eagles are winning. 3.5 minutes in Houston, and they're up 31-21 over the Texans. And the Redskins lead here by 5 for the moment. Third down from the 10.
Hey, Lee, 0-0, Lee.
Back 20. That's what hit.
Bridgewater open. Catch made. Greg Jennings should have a first down inside the 5. He came all the way across the field to get open.
Well, the Vikings reduced this formation down. There's 2 receivers at the top, then add a third guy in there, and the Redskins just playing man-to-man. Breeland's playing off coverage because of that stack formation, and Greg Jennings just runs away from him for that first down.
Jennings came in as the leading receiver. Matt Asiata, who already has 2 touchdowns, is stalled inside the 5. Jennings, the leading receiver in this game in terms of number of catches. He has 6 for 76 yards. And on second and goal, we'll see what Jim Haslett dials up for the Redskin defense and how North Turner calls the plays for Bridgewater. 2 receivers, top of your screen. That's Patterson and Jennings. Matt Asiata's the back. Matt Asiata plowing forward inside the 1. It'll be third and goal, and we've hit the 4-minute mark.
It's been a nice, impressive drive here by Minnesota. Very patient, obviously using the clock to their advantage on this entire trek down the field here.
Vikings bring in an extra lineman on third and goal from the 1.
They've been playing with 2 tight ends almost exclusively this entire game, and it partly to limit some of the pressure looks from Washington.
Bridgewater has run twice this game. Matt Asiata the carry. And touchdown. A delayed call, but touchdown Matt Asiata, his 3rd of the game. What a second half.
Just big on big here on this touchdown, and you'll see Will Compton actually hits him before the touchdown and just falls through there. That Asiata has been unstoppable today. In the red zone, you need a score. Get a ball to 44.
6 feet, 235 pounds, and we told you his story, a workmanlike player. This team has actually run the ball, similar numbers to when they had Adrian Peterson last year. But now they're going for 2 to take a 1-point lead and make it 3. They are 1 for 1 on 2-point conversions this year. The Redskins failed on their 2-point attempt.
Hey, Kansas!
Matt Asiata, count 2 more.
Got the look that he wanted. That looked to be a pass play, checked it to the run. 2-point conversion and gives them a 3-point lead.
Matt Asiata on the Vikings answering the Redskins here in the fourth quarter. Under 3.5 to play here in the fourth quarter. 5 lead changes. Washington had the early advantage, 10-0, but Matt Asiata, not only the 2-point conversion, but on the ground, 3 touchdown runs. That's the way the scoring has gone in what was kind of a sluggish first half, but it's taken off.
It really has. It's setting up for a good finish too, Chris. Can't wait for these next 3.5 minutes of this football game.
Touchback. Washington will come out to the 20-yard line. Alfred Morris with 2 touchdown runs. Robert Griffin over 235 yards passing, and you see the numbers on his career game-winning drives. Remember, his first game back since week 2 with a dislocated ankle. He has not looked rusty. In fact, has looked rather sharp in your eyes.
I agree with a lot of people that say that he could have played last week. He doesn't look any worse with that ankle, coming off that ankle injury. 7 weeks is a long time, but I think they did the right thing, and he's playing well.
Roy Halou Jr. is the running back. And Robert Griffin goes down. There's a flag in the secondary. Sharif Floyd and Everson Griffin in on Robert Griffin. Check the flag up at the 30.
Prior to illegal contact, defense, number 24, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Captain Munlin right here in the slot and just holding on to that receiver, Pierre Garçon, there past that 5-yard mark, and it's going to be a penalty. He had the contact before 5, just got to let him go.
Kai Forbath, who has a string of made field goals, 11 consecutive. Fresh set of downs from the 25 after the penalty. Andre Roberts just a little short of the first down up near the 34-yard line. And that's the 5th first down by penalty that Washington has had in this game. And Jay Gruden's team has taken advantage of those opportunities.
Hey, 55.
Roy Halou Jr. with a first down just short of the Washington 40.
An opportunity now for this Vikings defense, Chris, to really keep the ball in front of them here. Don't want to give up any explosive plays. We know what Deshaun Jackson is to this offense. You'll probably see him singled up on one side of the field, but would not be surprised if you get a safety covering him over top the rest of this game.
Deshaun Jackson. We welcome those of you that watched the Cardinals beat the Cowboys 28-17 with Rondé Barber, Chris Myers, and a flag here.
Pass interference, offense, number 11, 10-yard penalty, replay first down.
The call on Deshaun Jackson.
He's over here all by himself on Josh Robinson. Just pay attention when he gets to the top of the route, looking to create some separation. He extended and threw him off, and that flag came in right away. I think they knew exactly that was the call.
Quick recap nearing the 2-minute warning here. Washington with 3 timeouts. We've had 5 lead changes in the game. Matt Asiata has 3 touchdowns rushing. Bridgewater a touchdown pass. Griffin a touchdown pass. Alfred Morris has 2 scores for Washington on 1st and 20. Pass unloaded to Roy Halou Jr. Brought down across the 33-yard line. Anthony Barr, rookie sensation for the Vikings, making the stop. 2 minutes remain here in the 4th quarter. It's been back and forth. The Redskins trail, but they have the football. 2nd and 16. All 3 timeouts for the Redskins. They trail by 3. Robert Griffin goes down. Sharif Floyd with the sack. The 5th of this game. They have put the heat on Robert Griffin all afternoon.
And at the end of this game, this pocket just continues to collapse on Robert Griffin, but they've been after him all day long. Everson Griffin, linebackers blitzing. Brian Robinson chases him down here. And on this moments ago, this 2-minute drive, this pocket has been closing on him again and again. And this front 4 of the Vikings are playing really good right now.
On 3rd and 20. Griffin trying to make something happen. He's going to run. Sliding at the 43. It'll bring up 4th down. They need to get to the 49 for a first down, and the Redskins will use their first timeout.
A 30-second timeout.
Washington will have 2 remaining. You saw Matt Asiata, for those of you that tuned in a little bit late over on the Vikings sideline, his 3 touchdowns and 2-point conversion. Matt Asiata, those are the most points for any player in the league this year. That includes kickers. The free agent running back who with rookie McKinnon have brought the Vikings back here in the second half.
Teddy Bridgewater and Jerick McKinnon have been doing the majority of the work. But North Turner has called an excellent football game today. Matt Asiata capitalizing on all the work his teammates have done and scored 3 times, and then getting this crucial 2-point conversion after their last touchdown.
So now it's 4th down at 6. Robert Griffin has run in this situation in this game.
Again, Jordan Reed, bottom of your screen, soloed up. He's been the go-to guy in this situation.
Blitz coming. Ball is thrown. Here comes a flag on Jordan Reed. He was trying to get downfield.
So they, like me, have watched that play run by Washington over and over again. And it's been a hitch almost every single time. So you get in a crucial situation. A big call by Jay Gruden. He called a and go, and he got a holding penalty on the outside there.
We have 2 flags. One where the quarterback.
Fouls by both teams on the play. Holding. Offense number 77. Also prior to the pass, holding. Defense number 22. Those penalties offset. We play 4th down.
So a foreshadowing the Viking defense that can now go to school on the play you called with Rondé Barber, Chris Myers, our crew welcoming those who saw the Eagles defeat Houston 31-21. Arizona beat Dallas earlier in the NFC East. Redskins trail by 3, just over a minute to go. It's 4th and 6.
Same formation, Chris. 3 receivers up to the top. Your tight end, Jordan Reed, at the bottom. Looks like the exact same defense, too.
Pressure coming in on Griffin. The throw is low and incomplete. Pierre Garçon was the target. We welcome those of you that watched Tampa Bay and the Browns on a 4th and 6, trailing by 3. Robert Griffin had to flush out of the pocket and misfired to Pierre Garçon.
This is just a bad throw. He created some room to throw this, and man, wide open Pierre Garçon. He just short-armed it. He's trying to be perfect there, and it came out wobbly and low, and on 4th down, huge play. Turnover on downs there for Washington.
The rookie Teddy Bridgewater, who's had to put the ball up 42 times today. Robert Griffin on his return, 18 of 27. Redskins with 2 timeouts. McKinnon the carry, working his way down inside the 40 at a timeout. Washington, they'll have 1 remaining right at the 1:01 mark.
2 crucial plays there. The holding by Washington would have given them a 1st down because they had holding on the Vikings defense, and then just a missed opportunity there for Robert Griffin III.
Jay Gruden, of course, Mike Zimmer, they were on the same staff in Cincinnati, and so that's what it came down to on the 4th and 6. The offensive play calling of Gruden and Mike Zimmer winning out with the defensive call on the Vikings, and Robert Griffin, who for the most part did not look rusty today, was off on his most crucial throw. Coming up, it's the State Farm postgame show after this game is over.
He had the interception at the half, and then when it came down to crunch time, he couldn't deliver on an easy pass to Pierre Garçon, and won't call it yet, but it looks like the Vikings are going to get away with the win here.
Well, it's important as McKinnon carries, and Washington will probably use their last timeout, and they do. It's 3rd down now. So with only a 3-point lead, the Vikings have to be careful about chewing up the clock and not giving Washington the ball back with only a 3-point advantage. Right now they sit at the 37 of Minnesota. Let's talk about Teddy Bridgewater. You called his first NFL start. This is 5th. No turnovers in the game for the rookie. They trailed early. He held up well.
We had a 3 or 4 game stretch there where he was turning the ball over, and he has not done it today. He's looked calm and poised. We expected Washington to bring the house on Teddy today, and they really did. They sat back in zones. They were able to pick up some pressures, and Teddy just carved them up in the second half.
Bridgewater keeps as the Redskins cannot stop the clock. It'll be 4th down, and the clock will run. Now, if you try a field goal here, which I don't think
no, you
would
definitely
want to
don't.
do that. You probably punt it away.
Yeah, you punt it away, pin them back, make them go the length of the field.
You see the time
No
difference
time left,
running the clock. Probably call a timeout at the very last moment. That's Scott Turner, quarterback coach, son of Norv Turner, and with Teddy Bridgewater, called an excellent game today.
Yeah, we just mentioned the game that Norv Turner called. It was, especially in the second half, Chris, it was balanced. Some comfortable plays for his rookie quarterback against an aggressive defense.
Vikings use a timeout facing 4th down with just 12 seconds remaining. And Teddy Bridgewater, drafted in the opening round, they traded up to get him his numbers today. And on the ground, he ran only 3 times for 20 yards, but in key spots, missed a few early passes, completed 26 of 42, 268 yards and a touchdown. And as his coach said, the one thing we noticed about him right away, calm, in control in the huddle, and he was all afternoon, even when the team trailed in the first half. Jeff Locke on to punt. Andre Roberts would be the normal return man, but nobody back for Washington. He's really going to let it go. And it's into the end zone, which is an area with 6 seconds remaining. And that's what it may take, a Hail Mary.
Either that or one of these lateral completion, lateral, see if we can spring somebody late. But
Heave it, hope for a penalty, and try and set up for a long field goal.
That too, yep.
Today's game, a Mike Merckx production directed by Michael Frank, our technical producer Tom Lynch, the technical director Ernest Bauer, graphics operator Lisa Hansen, our lead replay operators Don Vermeulen and Pat Caballero, our audio mixer Kevin McCloskey, James Petralka, and Rick Odioso help Rondé and I up here in the booth with stats and spotting. Our entire production crew appreciate all of their hard work today, and we thank you for watching. Robert Griffin is going to heave it in the area of Deshaun Jackson. It's out of bounds. No time left. In a battle of 3 and 5 teams who've used 3 different quarterbacks and 2 head coaches for the first time that were both coordinators on the same staff in Cincinnati. Jake Gruden on the losing end to Mike Zimmer. The Vikings win to improve their record to 4 and 5. The return of Robert Griffin III in defeat. We'll be back.